Hi, I'm Jason McKee. I'm the Director of Developer Evangelism for ServiceNow, and today we are going to be talking about LiquorBot, our ServiceNow-powered bartender robot. So LiquorBot here has a database of 10,000 recipes, and we tell the bot what we have hooked up to each of these channels on the pumps, and it will actually calculate what drinks it can make from that database and present those in a handy-dandy service portal menu interface. And I can choose my drink here. So I'm going to have a core dump, which we have designated the cocktail of CreatorCon this year. So I just tap the button and LiquorBot makes the drink. It also checks par and inventory so that if we think we're going to run out of a ingredient before the drink is made, it'll actually throw up an error on the screen and say, hey, replace the vodka and try again. And we can do this because the pumps are super accurate and they can actually track down to a dash, which is 0.0325 ounces of alcohol, because I like a really, really dry martini. So that works out like really well. So you might ask, like, what does ServiceNow have to do with a bartender robot, right? This is not something we typically have in our offices, and ServiceNow is not going to be taking over the bar business. So well, I built this for a couple reasons. One, just to kind of like, break people out of the thought of like, ServiceNow and ticketing system. There is no ticketing in LiquorBot. It is purely about managing inventory, managing recipes, data importing. That database of 10,000 recipes I bought off the internet and pulled into the system. I can also use ServiceNow's data analytics to verify, like, I live in the Pacific Northwest. It's cold and rainy here most of the year, and our drinking tends to reflect that. So when I run LiquorBot in the northern half of the US, we tend to run a martini Manhattan whiskey gin vodka sort of menu, which you can see I've racked up on the bot today. In the southern half of the US, where it's really warm, people don't like those alcohol mixed with alcohol drinks. They want things that are fruity and sweet. So in the southern half, the tequila sunrise is one of our most popular drinks. And we also keep track of orders. So on one particular Knowledge opening night, we had a menu of 122 drinks, and we were serving a drink every minute and 14 seconds. On average, LiquorBot takes about 30 seconds to make a really complicated drink. So we can tell that it was taking people 46 seconds to go through the menu, figure out what they wanted, and actually have the drink made. So let's talk a little bit about how the actual ServiceNow application works here. As off the wall as a bartender may seem, this actually does crosswalk pretty neatly to a lot of manufacturing scenarios as well. So I was talking to a biotech manufacturer, and they had experiments and DNA and reagents, which actually tracks pretty nicely to the inventory we keep on the bottle volume. So we actually know when we're going to run out of a particular ingredient. We have our database of all of the recipes that could be made from our ingredients. So here's our core dump recipe from earlier, and that really kind of ties into those biotech experiments. And then we have our inventory. So these are actually all of the different ingredients that could potentially go into a recipe. And that's pretty much like, what do you need for the manufacturing process or the experiments that they were running? So let's talk about the hardware of how LiquorBot is put together. So we have a Raspberry Pi here that's running a touch screen, as well as using the GPIO pins with this ribbon cable here, that's going to a relay block, and the relay block is actually what's turning the pumps on and off. The pumps are 12 volt, Pi is 3.3 volt, so we need that to keep from blowing up the Pi and making it all work. There's actually 10 pumps on the bot, and one of the pumps is actually to flush the lines at the end, because we don't want to mix our Manhattans with our martinis because we're not animals. And the other elements are actually just power distribution blocks to power the Pi as well as the pumps. So I just mentioned NodeRed, which is actually a really great drag and drop IoT platform that's actually how we drive LiquorBot and implement the REST API. So if you've seen ServiceNow's workflow tool, this should actually look very familiar to you. And if you are used to ServiceNow, this is actually really great, because when you need to do code in NodeRed, just like ServiceNow, it's also JavaScript. And just like ServiceNow, it is often very, very simple JavaScript. So LiquorBot's been through a bunch of different iterations over the years, and what I really like about it is the original bot only took me a month to build, and of that, it was 2 weeks of fabrication, cutting, grinding, welding, painting. It took me another week and a half of like C++ firmware coding. I was originally, it ran on an Arduino, which is why I was so excited to find NodeRed and be able to actually get rid of all that code I have to maintain. And even though it's actually a ServiceNow demo and ServiceNow does all of the heavy lifting in the entire application, I actually only spent 2.5 days building the ServiceNow application. So my ServiceNow demo, I spent the least amount of time in ServiceNow, and that actually is why I love ServiceNow so much. So enjoy the rest of knowledge. Check out our other videos on our hack snacks, other fun things we've done with ServiceNow, and enjoy.